Why did Satan fiercely contest the possession of Moses' remains after his passing? A question that has intrigued many throughout the ages. Moses, as we know, was a prophet of profound influence, a leader who held a deep place in the hearts of the Israelites. His leadership was one of strength and compassion, guiding his people through trials and tribulations, leading them towards a future of promise and hope. The climax of his life and leadership came as no surprise, a time when God called his beloved prophet home. The departure of this great leader was so profound, so impactful, that the people of Israel mourned for an entire month, a month filled with tears, sorrow, and a sense of loss that echoed through the land. In the grand scheme of life, death often signifies finality. It marks the culmination of earthly contributions and sacrifices, the closing of one chapter and the beginning of another. But death is more than just an end. It's a representation, a reflection of the significance of the departed individual, the importance of their life, their deeds, and their influence on those left behind. In most cases, death leads to burial. It's a rite of passage, a final farewell, an acceptance of the inevitability of life's cycle. And in the case of someone as significant as Moses, one would expect a burial befitting his stature. But in Moses' case, death took a different turn. His story didn't follow the expected path. His final resting place wasn't marked by grandeur or spectacle. His burial wasn't a public affair, attended by throngs of mourning Israelites. Instead, it was shrouded in mystery, veiled in secrecy, and to this day remains a topic of much discussion and debate. So we circle back to our initial question, why? Why was Moses' death different? Why was his burial unlike any other? Why was his death unique? As we delve deeper into this mystery, we uncover a tale of divine intervention, a celestial tug of war, and a plot that stretches beyond the mortal realm. The answer to Moses' unique death lies in Deuteronomy 34:6. This verse, nestled in the final chapter of Deuteronomy, gives us a fascinating insight into the mystery that surrounds Moses' burial. It reads, "So Moses the servant of the Lord died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord." The verse continues, "And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab." This is an exceptional occurrence in biblical narrative, God himself burying his servant. Now you might ask, why is this unique? Well, throughout the Bible we encounter numerous accounts of the passing of prophets and leaders, but in all these records none are described as being buried directly by the hand of God. This peculiarity raises a multitude of questions. Why Moses? What made his burial different from others? The intrigue doesn't stop there. The exact location of Moses' burial site is a mystery that has confounded scholars and explorers alike for centuries. Despite extensive searches and numerous theories, the resting place of this great prophet remains undiscovered. The Bible tells us that he was buried in a valley in the land of Moab, but the precise spot is left undisclosed. The scripture further reveals that it was not by accident but by design that the location of Moses' tomb is unknown. The Lord intentionally concealed the burial site. This act of divine intervention adds another layer of mystique to the story, but it also prompts a crucial question: why? Why did the Lord feel the need to hide the location of Moses' grave? What was so significant about Moses' body that it had to be hidden from the world? The answer to these questions takes us deeper into the realms of faith, tradition, and the timeless battle between good and evil. The Lord intentionally concealed the tomb, but why? As we delve deeper into this mystery, we'll explore the reasons behind this divine act of concealment and its implications for the Israelites and the world. The answer to why God concealed Moses' tomb lies in Satan's keen interest in Moses' body. This interest wasn't born out of respect or admiration, but a devious intent to exploit it for his own gain. You see, Satan is known for his cunning and manipulative ways. He thrives on causing chaos and leading individuals astray. His plan for Moses' body was no different. He aimed to use it as a tool to lead God's people, the Israelites, into the treacherous path of idolatry. The Israelites held Moses in high regard, a pedestal of reverence and adoration. He was their leader, their guide, their prophet. Satan saw this deep-seated love and respect for Moses as an opportunity to twist their admiration into idolatry, to shift their focus from God to a mortal being. Had the Israelites known where Moses was buried, they might have turned his grave into a shrine, a place to pay respects, to remember, to mourn. But over time, this place of reverence might have transformed into something far more sinister, a place of worship, a place where prayers are offered not to God but to Moses, a place where Moses' memory is not just remembered but revered and idolized. Such idolatry is a direct affront to God's commandment, "You shall have no other gods before me." It obscures the glory of God, shifting the focus to a mortal being, and in the process, diluting the divine relationship between God and his people. This potential distortion of faith is why God chose to keep Moses' burial site a secret, to protect his people from straying from his path, to shield them from Satan's manipulation, to preserve the sanctity of their relationship with him. Over time, Moses' tomb could have morphed into a commercialized site, a hub of sinful adoration. By understanding Satan's interest in Moses' body, we gain a deeper insight into God's protective nature and his unwavering commitment to guide his people away from the path of idolatry. This site could have centered around Moses' perceived powers rather than the glory of God. This is the crux of the matter. The potential for idolatry was immense. Had the final resting place of Moses become public knowledge, it might have transformed into a hub of misguided reverence and worship. Idolatry, in its many forms, poses a significant threat to religious faith. It's the act of attributing divine status or powers to beings or objects that are not God. It's a distortion of the proper order of love and respect that should be directed towards the divine. In the case of Moses, the danger was that his powers, his leadership, and his legacy could have been placed above the true source of all those things, God himself. Consider this. Moses was a revered figure, a leader who guided the Israelites out of Egypt and through the wilderness, a prophet who received the 10 Commandments directly from God. His works were miraculous, his leadership inspirational. It's easy to see how the Israelites, in their grief and admiration, could have turned their focus to Moses, forgetting that he was merely a servant of the Lord. This shift in focus, this potential idolatry, could have led to a myriad of problems. It could have diluted the faith of the Israelites, causing them to stray from their covenant with God. It could have led to commercialization, with merchants exploiting the site for financial gain. And it could have encouraged sinful adoration, with people worshiping Moses instead of God. God, in his divine wisdom, foresaw these dangers. Therefore, he took steps to prevent them, keeping the location of Moses' burial a secret. In doing so, he ensured that the focus remained on him, the source of all power and goodness. He safeguarded his people from the pitfalls of idolatry, reinforcing the importance of faith in him alone. In preserving the secrecy of Moses' burial site, God prevented the potential for idolatry among his people. His actions serve as a reminder of the dangers of misplaced reverence and the importance of directing our admiration towards the true source of all blessings, God. The secrecy surrounding Moses' burial holds profound significance. It's not just about the physical act of burying a leader. It's about the divine wisdom and foresight that went into this decision. Let's rewind and summarize the main points to understand this better. Moses, a beloved prophet, was called home by God, leaving a profound impact on his followers. His death marked the end of an era and the start of a new journey. But his burial, unlike that of any other figure in the Bible, was shrouded in mystery. Moses was buried by God himself in a location that remains unknown to this day. This wasn't a random act, but a well-thought-out decision. And why was this so? It's because Satan, the master of deception, had his eyes set on Moses' body. He hoped to exploit the Israelites' deep respect for Moses, leading them astray from their faith in God. If the Israelites had known Moses' burial site, it could have become a shrine, a place of worship, and perhaps even a commercial hub. But God, in his infinite wisdom, knew this. He foresaw the potential pitfalls and took steps to prevent them. By keeping Moses' burial site a secret, he ensured that the focus would remain on him and not on Moses. This decision wasn't just about preserving a body, it was about preserving the faith of a people. This event has profound implications for religious belief. It underscores the importance of focusing on God rather than on human figures or relics. It also highlights the dangers of idolatry and the potential for manipulation by forces intent on leading us astray. In the end, God's actions ensured that Moses' death did not lead to idolatry, but to a continued focus on the worship of him. This is the real significance of Moses' burial, a divine act of protection designed to safeguard the faith of the Israelites and to keep their worship directed towards the one true God.